welcome back to another Ableton tutorial. Lovely to have you here. Big shout out Patreon gang, big shout out YouTube gang. So what are we looking at today? Well, you read the title on this video. I'm looking at ways to make sequence loops evolve, how to give them movement and pattern within a fixed frame. So we have sequenced patterns of notes. What can we do that allows us to perform those sequence of notes in a way that evolves? Of course, we can do things like adjusting filter cutoffs and all that sort of stuff. That's fun, that's lovely to do. But I want to look at ways in which the notes themselves can evolve within a sort of fixed frame as well. So this is the third one in a series that I'm doing, breaking down patches from my album, which is called Non-Determinative Outcomes. It's an AV album out now. You can go and listen to it and watch all of the videos. I want to break down this patch. It's called Evenly Spaced Events Within a Frame. What you can see right here is the patch that I built that became the track, and I'm making this exact set available over on Patreon. You can download this set, you can make whatever you want with this, and you can release it, you can explore it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can also access it as a one-time if you don't want to join Patreon but you want this specific set. Link in the description below. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'd love to make it possible for you to engage with my music not only as a listener but also as a maker. You can take this stuff and you can make stuff with it. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to break down how you can perform this, and then we're going to break it open and, well, actually we're going to build it from scratch. It's going to be a fun exploration. So first of all, I just want to show you what I made with this patch and show you the sort of direction that I took it in. This is a track called Evenly Spaced Events Within a Frame from my album. So there you have it. That's what I did with this patch. So as I said, first thing I'm going to do is just show you how you can perform with it. If you want to jump straight to how to build it, time code's in the description below. But let's have a quick look at what's going on here. We have a Euclidean rhythm sequencer. Let's solo that. And if I turn the sequencer off, that's triggering some drum sounds. A multi-samples of a bass drum that I have in my studio. Some multi-samples of a little percussion-y thing, and again some multi-samples of a click, and they're doing some stuff. They're all being sequenced by this rotating rhythm generator. I've made a tutorial before about how this plugin works, link to that below. But yeah, you can go and check this out. That's doing all the rhythmic stuff, so we're not going to focus on that so much. The other thing I had going here is just a drone. That's from a sample pack that I made available. Another link in the description below. Those are the only other elements, and this is the main thing. So how do we perform this? What's happening? Well, the first thing, let's reset some of these things. That's reset. Let's put this here. Let's put this down to here. Let's turn the filter cutoff. Yep. Oh, come on. So we have a note pattern. Oh. Reset those as well. Reset. So we have a note pattern. We can. It's a sequence of notes. We can. Let's turn this up a bit. We can change how many notes are in the sequence. And we can change how quickly those notes are happening. Let's leave it there. Let's bring this back to 2 so we can hear what's going on. Let's turn this up to 16. So we have a sequence of 16 notes happening. You can hear it just running through that sequence now. But we also have a sequence of 16 velocities happening. So if I bring this filter cutoff down, you can hear that some of those notes have a different velocity, and in this case the velocity is controlling the filter frequency, the cutoff of the filter frequency. So we can bring this right the way down and we're only getting notes with a loud velocity, or we can open this all the way up and we're only getting notes, well, we're getting all the notes to come through. So these two 16-note patterns, the note pattern and the velocity pattern, are also independent of each other. So I can change the note pattern whilst leaving the velocity pattern the same. So what you'll hear is the accents, the loud notes will happen in the same places, but the notes will change. And we can also change the pattern of where those accents are coming. So that's about how these parts of this patch work. This part over here, this pitch wave depth. So what is happening with this patch is, if I turn this up, we're not hearing that so much right now. You can hear that some of those notes are staying the same and some of those notes are changing each time the sequence loops. So this controls the amount of that change, and this controls how quickly those notes are changing. They're doing kind of a wave in the background. I'm going to explain that more when I break down this patch. The rest of the controls down here are to do with the quality of the sound. We have a sawtooth out. We have a square wave out, and we have a sub, and we have some unison that just brings in a bit of noise. We have a reverb and a decay on that. And we have a scaling, a quantization here, because you can hear that the notes are within a scale. So we have a scale bass, in this case F, and we can change the scale here. I haven't figured out how to get it to actually display the scale down here. Or we can have some weird scales. So that's why I have the drone in here, because it kind of locks us into this bass. Whatever weird scale is being used, it kind of gives us something to lock onto as a bass. That's quite nice. So, that's how this patch works. It's really fun to perform with. It's really fun to perform with, depending on the settings. You get some really interesting and very different results. But you can also very subtly change the way that things are happening as well. So, that's the patch. If you want to go and make stuff with it, link in the description below. Let's mute that. Let's mute all of these things. And now let's build it from scratch. Let's see what's happening. So I'm going to bring in a new MIDI channel. Shift-Command-T, new MIDI channel. You can be white because I want to see what's happening. So this patch revolves, it's a very modular synthesizer approach to playing stuff, as you might have seen with the way that I set that patch up and the way I was exploring it. So it actually uses a device called the MDD Snake. Link in the description below on where to grab this device. It's this Max for Live device by this guy called Maxime Danglais, or Maxime Dangles, or Maxime Dangles. I don't know how you want to pronounce that. So you can grab it there. You just download the device and drag it straight into your user library here in Ableton. So I'm just going to drag in that MS Snake. I'm just going to drag in that device in here, and we're going to bring in an instrument. In this case, we're going to use Wavetable so we can hear what's going on. And at the moment, we hear nothing going on. Now, why is nothing going on? So this is a 16-step sequencer, and it gives us steps for notes It gives us steps for gates, it gives us steps for velocities, and then we can customize something. We can send this wherever we want. And we have the little map button here, which is nice. Today, I'm just going to be focusing on the notes and the velocities. So at the moment, all of the notes are set to 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and all of the velocities are set to 0, 0, 0, and we have 0 gates. I'm going to turn on all of the gates. We still don't hear anything. And now I'm just going to come in here in notes. I'm going to press random. And I'm going to come in here in velocities, and I'm also going to press random. So now we have a sequence is stepping through. I'm going to turn this to 8th notes. And I'm going to turn these to 8th notes. In fact, I'm going to put them all on 8th notes. Yeah. Not really using that one, but let's put it on 8th notes anyway. Okay, so we can hear this stepping through a sequence of notes now. I'm just going to maybe adjust some of these. I'm going to turn this to mono because I just want to use this kind of just as an oscillator. I'm just going to actually just make it already just an oscillator like that. We can hear gaps in between the notes. We don't want gaps in between the notes. So I'm going to bring in a MIDI effect, note length. I'm just going to turn on latch, which holds the previous note and until a new note is triggered. So I'm going to, let's make a bit more of a thing here. So let's treat 31, 33, 34, 98, 31, 33, 28. I'm just going to make these a little bit more of a... This one's too high. That's way too high. Okay, we can hear it stepping through a bunch of notes now. I'm going to bring in a scale device. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Come on, scale device. I'm going to set this to F, and let's do F Dorian. Feels like a Dorian kind of a day. Lovely. So we have a 16 note pattern here. We have a 16 velocity note pattern here. Now, let's connect these velocities with something else. I said I just want to use this wavetable basically as an oscillator. I don't want to use the amp envelope on here. This is why I've got it set like this. I'm not going to use the filter envelope on here. I'm just going to have it just basically set as a wavetable. And let's start with a triangle wave over here. I'm going to use an auto filter as a filter instead of the filter inside of the wavetable. So auto filter. Let's make that wavetable smaller for now. I'm going to bring in an expression control before the wavetable, after the note length. So this now lets me take information from the incoming MIDI and do stuff with this. In this case, I want to use velocity, and I'm going to map the velocity to the cutoff of the filter. I want it going unipolar, and I want it going 100%. We don't hear that doing anything because the filter is all the way open. So now we can hear this velocity pattern is controlling the cutoff of this auto filter here, which is really quite nice. If I was to change the note pattern now, we would hear the same accents. How do I change the note pattern? We see this down here in these shapes. So let's change the note pattern. And we can see it tracing a different path through these 16 notes. We can see it tracing these different paths. Let's put that back to the original pattern. And of course, we have the same thing here on the velocity. So these are the two interesting things I think to be able to control in terms of the way that we're moving through the notes. So I'm gonna group all this. I'm gonna start mapping some macros. Select everything. Command G. I'm gonna open up all of the macros because I want to use all of them. Okay, first thing I'm going to do actually is map some stuff from the wavetable. Now, I want to use two oscillators. I want to use a saw oscillator. I'm going to connect that with macro 9. Oscillator 2, I want to square. macro 10. I want the sub on, and sub macro 11. Lovely. Okay, now I'm going to use these 4 macros here to map some stuff from here. So I want macro 5 to be able to control the length of the sequence. So that's this thing here. So I'm going to right click macro 5. And I'm going to do the same thing for all of these. Map to sequence length, and yes, we're going to map you to sequence length as well. Now also the subdivision here, the speed, I'm going to map that to macro 6. Same on all of these. Map to macro 6, where have you gone? Oh, speed. Yep. And you as well. Yep, and that's changing the speed of all of them. And that's controlling the length of all of the patterns. Lovely. Now, macro 7, I'm going to use the snake shape on the notes. So and macro 8, we're going to do the velocity pattern. Lovely. Now, I want to be able to control the filter. So I'm going to right click, and that's going to be macro 4. I call it VCF cutoff because it's really functioning like a voltage controlled filter in a very modular kind of a way. Now, this value on the expression control here, that controls how much the velocity is affecting that filter. So I want to connect that with macro number 3 over here. Right click, macro number 3. We probably need to change the amount. Yeah, I just want you to go from 0. So now I can open up the filter. So that's the velocity to the VCF. That's how much the velocity is controlling that filter cutoff. Lovely. Right, this kind of waves thing that was happening in the background where some of the notes were changing and some of the notes were not changing. Let's set that up. So what we're going to do is I'm going to bring in an LFO. Where have you gone? LFO. And that, of course, has to come after the wavetable. I'm going to set that for now to be quite a slow wave. And I'm going to come in here onto these notes. And I'm just going to map this to 3, 4. I'm going to map this to 4 of these notes. So I'm just going to hit, I want this to be unipolar. I'm just going to map you to second note there. I'm going to hit this little button here. We're going to map you to some more notes again, unipolar. Let's map that one. Let's have you. And let's have you. You can map as many as you want. You're adults. You can make your own decisions. Let's just change the amounts on some of these. They're doing it a little bit too much. I think it's nice to have one that's not doing so much. So now we can hear some of the notes are changing and some of the notes are not changing. Some of the notes that are changing are quite in the background because of the filter. So we can hear some of the notes are changing and some of the notes are staying fixed. That's what this LFO is doing here. So let's be able to control a couple of things about that. This depth is, of course, going to control how much that's changing the notes. So let's right-click, map you to macro 1. And maybe the rate, map you to macro 2. This is quite nice. Let's put a reverb at the end. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put a limiter at the end because let's not blow up the universe. So let's bring in a reverb. Oh, that was nice. Where's my reverb gone? Hybrid reverb. What I'm going to do is set that. Let's put the limiter after that. Let's just take out some of the bottom end. Okay, let's map dry wet to 12. Let's map the decay to 13. Lovely. Actually, I want to undo that. Remove mapping. I want to map the dry wet to 14. Because I want to put the noise from the wavetable on whatever that is, 12. I'm gonna go for noise. Lovely. That's that one. Lovely, and now let's come in here in the scale. Let's do that macro 15. Macro 16. And that's basically it. Did some color coding. Let's make you this color. Let's make you this color. Let's make you this color because you're quite a different thing. This is stuff to do with the sound. Slightly different stuff to do with the sound. Like quantize, you can be white. So now we can control how much those notes are changing, how much those waves are happening. So now it's going to be the same 16 notes all the way through. If I change the note pattern, the accent, let's just turn you down a little bit. If I change the note pattern, of course, the accents are going to stay the same. We're just going to get different notes accented. Let's change the velocity pattern. So for me, when I got to this point, it was just about finding a combination of these things that I liked. I think I went for a 14-note pattern. I think I had it on a minor scale. Is that a minor scale? It's a whole tone. And of course, you can come in here, and if you want a new starting point, we can just hit random. Of course, if you want to try some different things, you could randomize the gates as well. There you have it. We now have these ways of evolving these sequences. So what I did with my album, I found a combination of these things that I liked, and I just performed with it for a while. I just explored it. I actually ended up sending the MIDI out to my modular, but it was essentially doing this exact same thing, just using a modular oscillator instead of a wavetable as an oscillator. We can even shut that now. So there you go. That's the rack. Thank you for being here. Links in the description below if you want to grab it yourself, of course. I would love to hear what you're making. If you're making stuff with this, tag me. I would love to hear it. But as I said, if you grab this rack and these drum stuff from my Patreon, it's all yours. You can do whatever you want with it. That's the way it is. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.